Well folks, the day has finally arrived. After a mere 24 rotations around the sun, Poseidon's Fury at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando is set to close its temple doors forever. For the uninitiated, Poseidon's Fury was a walkthrough attraction where guests joined Taylor, an archaeologist in training, on a tour of an ancient temple dedicated to the Greek god of the sea. Before you know it, you and your trusty guide are caught in the middle of an epic showdown between the Lord Poseidon and the nefarious Darkanon. Despite his name sounding like it would be more at home in an Avatar movie, Darkanon is a powerful force of evil who traps the audience in the temple, and their only hope of escape is returning Poseidon's trident to his hand so he can vanquish his foe. At least that's more or less the story. Anyway, the battle is a sight to behold, complete with lasers, pyrotechnics, and some surprisingly witty one-liners from Taylor. Eventually, Poseidon emerges victorious and allows you to escape the temple unscathed. Let's face it, Poseidon's Fury is a bit cheesy and its early 2000s vibe is about as fresh as the popcorn you get at a matinee movie showing, which, seriously, don't eat that. But despite all of that, it's managed to stick around for years as one of the few walkthrough attractions of its kind. And for that reason, we should be mourning its closure. But does the end of Poseidon's Fury signal an imminent downfall of the walkthrough attraction genre? To answer that, we need to take a step back into the past and learn about the history of these attractions and how they've evolved over time to meet the changing needs and expectations of guests. This might be a good time to interject really quick to explain my understanding of what a walkthrough attraction is, as there are many different types and each can serve a unique purpose. In my opinion, a walkthrough attraction should be designed to teach, tell a story, or immerse an audience member in a certain environment. Its principal intent should not be to sell something. And also you should probably be walking through it. For example, in the early days of Disneyland, Frontierland had a walkthrough attraction called the Davy Crockett Museum. However, it was less of a museum and more of a shop with a few display cases or placards conveying information about Davy Crockett, so it didn't quite meet the intended purpose. Okay, back to your irregularly scheduled content. The turn of the 20th century. A time of innovation and progress around the world. Ford's motor car was gaining traction, Willis Carrier was busy inventing the cool breeze with air conditioning, and Albert Einstein was hard at work on his theory of relativity. But more important than any of that was the attraction that was raved about from coast to coast at the 1901 Pan American Exposition. A trip to the moon. This was no ordinary ride. This was the first themed narrative dark ride and walkthrough attraction. Guests boarded an airship that fit up to 30 people, complete with a massive canvas wings. For a mere 50 cents, they entered a large room inspired by the grand railway stations of the day. And after exploring all the depot had to offer, they were ushered aboard the Luna, their ticket to the stars, or at the very least, to the moon. And as it lifted off, large tapestries were moved along all sides of the ship to give the illusion of soaring up into the air and above the city into the clouds. Guests were free to move about this portion of the ride. They were able to lean against the railings or go explore different portions of the ship. After a few minutes of flight and a touch-and-go encounter with an electrical storm, the Lunar made landfall on the moon. There, guests were able to explore the moon's surface with the help of a selenite guide, otherwise known as just a person in a moon man costume. There were 3 main attractions on the moon. First up were the caverns, which were adorned with papier-mâché faces of creatures and beings unfamiliar to the guests. There was also a shop where guests could sample moon cheese, because we should all choose to live in the world of Wallace and Gromit, where the moon is canonically cheese.
That's it, cheese!
Finally, guests could pay a visit to the Selenite Central City, which was adorned with enormous gates and walls. This ride walkthrough combo was so popular at the expo that when it was moved to Steeplechase Park at Coney Island, the park literally changed its name to Luna Park. It's pretty obvious that this single attraction had a profound impact on the industry and was the model for so many later attractions. By the time 1950 rolled around and Walt Disney was working on his own park, well-themed walkthroughs were commonplace at major parks and events like the World's Fairs. On Disneyland's opening day, half of the attractions open to guests were walkthroughs, and that's basically all you could do in Tomorrowland. Whether it was the Kaiser Aluminum Hall of Fame, the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry, the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, Tarzan's Treehouse, or any of the other countless walkthrough attractions present in the parks over the years, almost all of them have met the same fate: declining interest and eventual closure. Maybe the issue is that parks failed to change and adapt quickly enough, so we end up with empty building after empty building. Husks, waiting for some new temporary exhibit or for the funds to have something worthwhile put in. Does this signal the death of the walkthrough attraction in theme parks? We have reached the death of the walkthrough attraction as we know it, and instead of a demise, I think we're looking at a long overdue revolution in walkthrough experiences. Taking these experiences from that of a passive vantage point of the onlooker to a more active role in creating a unique walkthrough experience for each guest. Many rides today have walkthrough elements that draw from classic techniques from their earlier cousins. The Haunted Mansion, even though it's from the mid-20th century, begins as a walkthrough. From the moment you step into the spine-chilling foyer of the Hightower Manor, you transition from being a simple cog in a wheel that is a ride queue to being a member of an intricately detailed walkthrough attraction that the Disneyland Haunted Mansion was intended to be. Of course, there's also a fantastic and original walkthrough attraction at Disneyland, inside of the Sleeping Beauty Castle, which would be an almost perfect attraction on opening day of Disneyland. But that was almost 70 years ago. A lot has changed, and guests' passions and interests have as well. Today, we have Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland and Hollywood Studios. One could argue that one of the pillars of this ride is conveying an effective narrative in a walkthrough format. From the time you exit the first show sequence in the briefing with BB-8 and Rey, you are swept along on a journey that allows you to make as much or as little out of it as you choose. You have the freedom to move about the cabin, peer through every porthole and window, examine every stormtrooper, and talk back to as many Empire admirals as you want. Though you don't have full autonomy like traditional walkthrough attractions, since you're being rushed from place to place by cast members, you as the audience member are in a small way able to dictate the quality of your experience through your own actions. And on the horizon, we have Moana's Water Adventure. Oh, wait. No, I got that confused with the standard naming template nowadays. It's Journey of Water, inspired by Moana. It seems like it'll be a fantastic blend of exploration and interactivity, in the same vein as Tom Sawyer's Island, which is an unbelievable experience held back by the difficulty of getting to the island. We also have the new Minions walk-through, stand-through attraction coming to the Universal parks. I'm not really sure how to classify it, since it seems like from rumors it'll be the person standing on a moving walkway and shooting a phaser at targets. So it could be a walkthrough. I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see. The future of these types of attractions could be bright, as long as Disney and Universal don't screw it up, which, if we're being honest, has happened in the past. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are walkthroughs really dying off? And if so, should they? Is it time for a new breed of attraction to move in and take their place, or should walkthroughs continue to evolve so they can stick around? We're at a fork in the road with two paths ahead. One leads to the rebirth of a once great and versatile attraction type through cause and effect, guest decision-driven narratives. The second path leads to severing one of the most important threads in theme park design history. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another one of my videos. I hope you really liked it, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and maybe consider subscribing. I'm on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm the TE Archives on Twitter and Themed Entertainment Archives on Instagram. Sorry the content's been a little sparse lately. I am T-minus 11 days until I get married, so it's been a little hectic in my household trying to get everything together for that. But afterwards, I'm planning to really buckle down and get some more content out for you guys. But until then, thanks for watching, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next one.